Hello, hello, and way to go. So we have only 2 lessons left, including this one. Unbelievable. Yeah, so probably by now you feel like I know Kung Fu, I know Hebrew. Do you? I hope so. Uh, Give yourself some time for practice, etc. Now we have to close just some little, but very important corners. What are they? I'll explain in a second, wait and see, but first I want to make sure that you feel at home with one very important verb that even has deserved a special video for itself. Which verb was that? A very strange verb that has an infinitive form and has no present form? Yep, the verb to be. How do we say to be? להיות. How do we say everyone wants to be a millionaire, right? כל אחד רוצה להיות מיליונר, so להיות. Now, I hope you feel at home with which group does that belong? The להיות, yeah? להיות. It's fun. Is it like לגור? Remember? Is it like ללמוד? Is it like לרצות? לשתות? Yes. So it's group number 2. So all the conjugations, they are according to group number 2. Now, let's just make a quick review. We're talking about group number 2 and especially about the verb להיות, to be, right? Right. So how do we conjugate it if for the past? I'm talking about the past tense now, only the past, today, and the verb to be. Why? So just 1 second, you'll see why. Past tense. Past, להיות, or any other verb of the second conjugation. Let's see. So, just real quick review. I was. Now, nearby, let's write the לרצות verb and we'll compare. So, I wanted. So, רצה, and there must be T at the end. And now, רצה, all these verbs, remember, there was the case of disappearing hey, remember? And this hey that disappears, right? But it gives something here. It has to compensate for its disappearance. רציתי, I was. I would say אני רציתי. אנחנו רצינו. את רצית. אתה רצית. אתן רציתם, רציתן. Remember? אתה, אתם, אתן, right? And also, we have to have here who and he. Who he wanted. How do you say he wanted? Remember? Who is the pure form. So what does that mean? It means that we only have the main letters, the root letters. So resh, tzadik, and here hey is left intact. He wanted. Ratza. And she wanted. How do we make the she form? Remember? We add by the structure. Yes, we add hey at the end. Remember? But here, what happens? Resh, tzadik, and 2 heys? No way. We're not gonna do it. 2 heys, it just doesn't work. So hey is changed to tav. So she wanted ratzta. Remember? Ratzta. So, she didn't want to come. היא לא רצתה לבוא. She didn't want to sing. היא לא רצתה לשיר. What did she want to do? מה היא רצתה לעשות? What did she want to say? מה היא רצתה to say? Remember? להגיד. מה היא רצתה להגיד? Or how do you say? He wanted to eat. הוא רצה לאכול. That was a quick review of לרצות. Right? Who, he, and him and hen. Last one. Him and hen. Remember, what's the normal ending? The u ending. Now, what happens with the hey? Hey just disappears. Psh, puff. That's it, nothing. They wanted רצו, right? Right. That's what happens with the verb לרצות. If I change it to לשתות, so רציתי, שתיתי. רצינו, let me make the ending normal, רצינו, שתינו. See how it works? רציתי, שתיתי, רצינו, שתינו. את רצית, את שתית. אתה רצית, אתה שתית. That I'm conjugating want and drink. אתם רציתם, אתן רציתן. And that's לרצות, now לשתות. אתם שתיתם, אתם שתיתן. Now, and that was he wanted. הוא רצה, he drank. הוא שתה, she wanted. היא רצתה, she drank. היא שתתה. Yes, so we have the two taps here. שתתה, שתתה, she drank, שתתה. And they wanted, הם רצו, they drank, הם שתו. So we can do it with שתו, so be sure that we can do it with the verb לחיות. So what are, we have, these are the main letters here, place number 1 and place number 2. What are they here? 1 and 2, hey and yud. So we substitute ration sadik to hey and yud. What do we get? רציתי, hey and yud, and taf and yud. הייתי. So it was רציתי, הייתי. See, it's the same thing. רציתי, הייתי. So then רצינו, היינו. How do you say I was at home? הייתי בבית. How do you say I was tired? הייתי עייפה. We were. So we wanted. רצינו. We were. היינו. We were friends. היינו חברים once. פעם. היינו חברים פעם. We were friends once. Now, את רצית. And for the verb to be, hey and yud, remember? So, hey, yud, and then there's another yud because of the second hey. Hayit, at hayit. How do you say, ask someone, were you pretty when you were young? Huh? How do you say that? Were you pretty? Hayit, pretty. יפה, hayit יפה. When you were young. When? כש, you were. היית, כשהיית young, let's say small, little, a child, קטנה. היית יפה כשהיית קטנה? Yeah. And then be sure to say you are pretty also today if you say to a girl, את יפה גם היום. Yeah, because such a question can be strange. Okay, הייתי, היינו, היית. And for אתה, הייתה, הייתה. hayit, hayita, container for a. And atem, hayitem. Where have you been? Hayitem. Now, see, where I'm asking in English, where have you been? Actually, in Hebrew, we don't have a way to say it, make that complicated. We have only one past, yeah? Where were you? That's the way we say it. We don't have where have you been. Just where were you? Eifo, and now you, plural, atem. We don't say atem, we just think atem. Eifo hayitem. Eifo hayitem all the time. Kol hazman. Eifo hayitem kol hazman. Where have you been? Eifo hayitem kol hazman. So you see it's much simpler. Now, hayit, hayita, hayitem. He wanted. Hu ratza. He was. What should be there? Hey and yud, and then here is our hey intact. Haya. How do you say he was crazy? How do you say that? Hu haya mishuga. Hu haya mishuga. Or he was interesting. Hu haya chacham. Or the book was interesting. Hasefer haya chacham. So the book was interesting, but you have to, like, book is Sefer, the book was, Sefer haya chacham. I'll comment on that. What else? He was on time. הוא היה בזמן. הוא היה בזמן. Rather, he came on time, but it's okay. Now, רצה היה. She רצתה. She was. So, okay, hey and yud. These are the gray letters here instead of the gray letters here. Hey and yud. Now, this second hey, not this hey, but this second hey changes to taf. And then there's another hey to add at the end. So what do we get? Hayta. She was hayta. Hu haya, he hayta. She was tired. He hayta ayifa. She was beautiful. He hayta yafa. She was not at home. He lo hayta babait. Okay, good so far. Theoretically, you know that because you know already the conjugation of ratziti, ratzino, ratzit, etc. Or at least your notebook knows. I know that your notebook knows, and sometimes you don't have it in automatically, like to answer spontaneously. I know that. It's fine. We're just making what we're doing so far. We're just making one full circle of grammar, and then give it some time, practice it, and give it time to settle down. You have to. You can't drink it all in one gulp. Yes, it's just you have to like incorporate. You have to make it yours. So practice. It comes with practice and time. The two elements together, and you'll be fine. And meanwhile, use the tables. That's what I do. When I learn a language, that's what I do. Okay, so we have. Do we have it all? They were. They wanted him. Here the hey disappears. Him ratsu. So they were. Him hayu. How do you say they were friends? Hem hayu chaverim. Hem hayu chaverim. So once again, to pronounce I was. Hayiti. Say it with me. We were. How do we say it? Pronounce hayinu. You girl at hayit. Ata hayita. Atem hayitem. He. Wait a second. You. He. Who. Ha. Ya. She. He. Hayita. And they. Hayu. That's wrong. Hayu. Why are we reviewing it now? And no doubt it's important, but why now? Why do we need it? We already learned the conjugation of the second group. It's over now, and now you also had a special video for the Haiti and Hayinu. And why am I finishing this whole table now? Probably you have it on your on the materials. Why? Because it's more useful than you can think. Why and how come? Yes, I say like I have been at home. Yeah, I say just I was at home. And this was is used not only to express the have been uh, part of grammar, the have been concept. It's used to express so many contexts. This hyeno is just a magic wand. It really does so many things. You have to know it well. So it's used. It's wonderful. It's a deal. It's a deal 3 in 1. You know how so for even 4 in 1 because it was, were, he was, she was, they were. It's the were in the past. First, the normal, the basic form. Also, it's used to express 3 more structures. I mean, there are 3 structures in Hebrew, in English, and in Hebrew it's expressed with this, with just this same thing. So what are these structures? You know this. Now let me show you the 3 structures expressed with to be in the past. Okay, number 1. In English, I say I was writing, for example. I was doing something. I was writing. Guess what? Yes, like I have been writing or I was writing. We already mentioned that one. In Hebrew it will be hayiti, and here goes the present tense of the verb hayiti. So I was writing, hayiti kotev. I was writing when he came. hayiti kotev kshehu ba. I was um, I was uh, driving. I was going somewhere when he called. הייתי נוסע when he called. כשהוא, what was the calling? Remember that verb? להתקשר, the long one. Yes, but that's what we use. He called כשהוא התקשר. Remember? הייתי נוסעת כשהוא מתקשר. Oh, I was reading when he called. הייתי קוראת כשהוא התקשר. The I was is expressed with this hayiti. Wonderful, but that's not all. Something else. In English, we have a wonderful construction. I used to do something. Do something, something. This verb. I used to and verb. I used to read. I used to write, and that's in English. It's like in infinitive, probably. To read, to write. In Hebrew, it would take the hayiti plus, again, present tense. You see, same thing, same thing. hayiti kotev, I was writing. hayiti kore, I was reading. But it also means I used to be writing. I used to be reading. Yeah? Like, what to ask me, how do we know which is which? That's Hebrew, man, or whoever. Like, just by the context, you just have to, guess. Hebrew is a guessing game in on many occasions. So, and of course, by the, what follows. You guess by what follows. So, if you say, הייתי כותבת כשהוא בא, that's obviously I was writing when he came. אבל הייתי כותבת ספרים כשגרתי ביפן. So it could be I was writing books when I lived in Japan. It could be I used to write books when I lived in Japan. It could take this nuance of meaning. So you see, these nuances are not that far. So you can then, it's in the maybe in the consciousness of a Hebrew speaker, they are not separated even. Yeah. So הייתי כותבת ספרים כשגרתי ביפן. I was writing books when I used to be writing books. Or rather, even better example, I used to, even you can specify. I used to like. I used to like tuna fish, but now today I don't like it. Yeah, הייתי אוהבת טונה, אבל היום אני לא אוהבת. So if you specify, but today I don't, that's obviously like once and no more, but you have to kind of express it. It's not like in English, I used to like tuna fish, full stop. It's obvious that now you don't like it. In Hebrew, yes, you have to go further and explain, otherwise it's unclear. So, הייתי אוהבת, אבל היום אני לא אוהבת. Or, I used to think that Santa Claus is real, but today, that's, I used to believe in this, full stop. Yeah, in English you can stop here and it's obvious. In Hebrew you have to continue. הייתי חושבת שיש Santa Claus. It depends if it's obvious or not. הייתי חושבת שסנטה קלאוס אמיתי. I used to think that Santa Claus is real. הייתי חושבת שסנטה קלאוס הוא אמיתי. Or, but in some cases it's not obvious. הייתי שואלת הרבה שאלות. Because I was asking many questions, I used to ask many questions. So, הייתי כותבת, הייתי שואלת הרבה שאלות אתמול. I was asking many questions yesterday. הייתי שואלת הרבה שאלות כשהייתי קטנה, That's I used to ask many questions when I was young. So that's when I was young, makes obvious that I used to. You're not anymore. And that's not enough. That's not it. I told you we have more. So I was writing, I used to write number 3, the best. Number 3 is, we never mentioned how to say I would. And here is the trick. I would, and then the verb, same structure. Hayiti, and then present tense. Verb in present tense. Verb in present tense. So just, I mean, same. I mean the same. Same. How do we know? That's Hebrew. Context. Context, context, context. So, I would do it, and then you specify but. If you say but, then it's probably I would, but I would. How do you say I would? I would continue, but I don't have time. הייתי, continue, הייתי, continue, ממשיכה, הייתי ממשיכה, אבל אין לי זמן. Most useful, I would like, I would want, not like but want in this case. I would like, הייתי רוצה, הייתי רוצה לנסוע, I would like to go. So in Hebrew you have to be very expressive with your intonation so that you're not confused, you see the intention of the speaker. הייתי נוסעת, אבל אני לא יכולה, but I can't. Yes, but from this context, from the second part of the sentence, it's obvious which one is meant, but in general, this is the beauty. So now my example has been always with myself, but you could use it with anyone else. How do you say we used to be friends? היינו, see here, היינו חברים. It's better specify, so that's not we were friends and maybe we were still friends. היינו חברים, אבל אנחנו לא חברים היום. Yes, we used to be friends. We would talk, but we don't have time. היינו מדברים, אבל אין לנו זמן. We would have talked, but we don't have time. That's the would. How do you say you would think הייתם חושבים, you would think that's right, you would think that is right. הייתם חושבים שזה נכון, אבל זה לא נכון. It's not right, but so I'm trying to add the context. הייתם חושבים שזה נכון, אבל זה לא נכון. How to say he used to do it when he lived in Brazil. He used to he used to work in Brazil, whatever. הוא היה עובד בברזיל. And same construction. He would work in Brazil if he wanted. הוא היה עובד בברזיל אם הוא רצה. Yeah, so you see the context shows which part, what do you mean, what kind of exactly to which English phrase it corresponds. הוא היה עובד אם הוא היה רוצה, if he would work if he wanted. She used to she used to draw when she was little. היא הייתה מציירת כשהייתה, again, when she was small, כשהייתה קטנה. היא הייתה מציירת כשהייתה קטנה. And היא הייתה מציירת אם היה לה זמן. She would have drawn something if she had time. In this sense, it is would. So you see, it kind of switches, it shifts. they would have called if they knew the number. הם היו calling. Remember, מתקשרים. הם היו מתקשרים. אילו, that's with the would conjunction, with the would, we say if as im normally, but for the would, we rather use ilu or lu. You'll see it in the memorize. It also means if. So we have two ways to say if, and this one is preferred. This one is preferred for the I would construction. So היינו כותבים, or what was that? היינו מתקשרים, we would have called אילו ידענו, if we knew, אילו ידענו את מספר הטלפון שלו, שלך, היינו מתקשרים, we would have called. Okay, so to use it fully, you have to feel at home, be comfortable with להיות, the past tense of all these forms. But don't worry, since it is used for was and for would and for used to. So guess what? Guess how often you hear these forms. So don't worry, it will come with practice, and you'll have lots of practice because they are so useful. And also keep the tables in front of your eyes in the meanwhile, and speaking and listening, and you'll feel more comfortable with it soon. And one more point to make, only useful things today, is I really want to mention how to say in Hebrew. I think we had that in this song Shabbat Baboker. Do you remember that song? Do you remember how we said to go to the kindergarten to see that the kindergarten is closed? Remember? Closed. This ed form, how do we make it? What's the verb for close? Lisgor. That's ugly. Sorry. Lisgor. And right. So our main letters is here, Samach Gimel Resh, and to make this ed construction, we use the 1, 2, 3, the 3 letters, and the pattern, this ed pattern. In English, you take the main part and they add the ed. In Hebrew, you take this 1, 2, 3, and you add. Usually, what do we add? But really, honestly, what are the letters that we use like as functional? Yes, we've seen it so many times. Either Vav or Yud, or usually Vav or Yud. Yes, again Vav. But here it's kind of unusual place here. So, but when it's here before the last letter, this U sound, you can be pretty much sure that it's the ed construction. Ed. And so lisgor, we take the 1, samach, second, gimel, third, resh, and we have the sagur pattern. Sagur meaning, if that was to close, so sagur is closed. And if liftoach is to open, so how do you say opened? P, T, Vav, and this first goes this patuach, opened. And what do you say when somebody knocks into your door? Someone knock, and you say patuach. Yeah, open, patuach. Okay. And you can use it with verbs that can be so. Lichtov, for example. Lichtov. What do we get here? Ktv. Katuv. Written. Closed, opened, written. Opened, written. That's how we form the IED form. לסגור, סגור, לפתוח, פתוח, לכתוב, כתוב. And if we have one of our favorite verbs, such as לעשות, Yes, la asot. Yes, why is it our favorite? Because it's this odd ending that happens because hey disappeared. So we have basically ein, shin, hey, right? Right. What happens here? It also, something always happens. What usually happens? In the past, la asot was a ct. Hey turns into yud. Remember? What happens in this construction if we had hey? Ta-da! Same idea. Yud. Yeah, that's the hey. That's the influence of hey. Hey turns into yud. We've seen it so often. Yeah, so if it was hey, it was this. By the way, if the third letter is aleph, it will also turn into yud for some reason. Yeah, so la'asot, the made, the done will be asui. Asui, made. To do, to make, made. And probably you want to know that married will be nasui. It comes from the same root, but maybe I'll mention it. It will come later. But when you see it, you'll recognize it's like the ed form. This ui ending. That's because hey changes to yud, and we've seen it very often, like the ose asiti. Ose again made done asui. Just yud is red at the end, like y, not like e. This is it for today, and I'll see you for the last time. Oh, you will see me for the last time in the next lesson. And good luck with the homework, and enjoy your hero. See you.